So I'm at the creek, and to keep me from throwing pants at barns all the time, which I have on this rod, and I'll probably end up putting on this rod and catching an 8-incher eventually after I get sick of fishing with this, I have my mystery Tacklebox Trout box. So let's see what's in it. We have some weighted Revolution by Rod and Bob's dual line spots. We have some bass from stopperlures.com snelled hooks. We have some of these Lunker City Fishing Specials plastics, lunkercitytv.com. We have some Kender's tungsten jigs, and we have the spinner from Cutie Spin, deadly on bluegill and crappie. I don't know if it's deadly on trout though. And we have this Elvis bass, which is going to go on my boat. And we have these trout gear plastic from Stopper Lures. I just got the Kender's jig in that. I'm going to be using those Kender's jigs quick. And the cost of this is the Kender's Outdoors tungsten jigs are $5.89. The Best Tough Snelled hooks are $3.08. The Canny Stopper Lures Trout Thumper Tails, which are those white things, are $2.99. The Revolutionary X weighted stick shorty is $5.99. The Lunker City 3-inch Helgramites is $4.49. I guess that these look like Helgramites. Oh yeah, they do, but they're really silver. And the H&H Lure Cutie Spin is $2.99. We're gonna start out using these baits. And we're gonna use the Kender's tungsten here and put on this plastic like this. I might need to go to a Brookie Creek later today to do it. Here's how this looks. We're gonna start fishing with this. We got a fish. We got one lures on. This is a ring. What is this? Oh, it is a brown. Good. We got a brown on the snelled hook. That out of the way. And did you swallow it? Oh, of course. So this guy will be dinner. So on this creek, I caught the fish right away on the snelled hook. Then I weighed upstream and I was trying to get the fish on the bobber. And it took me a while to get one on the bobbers. And this area is really shallow and good for spinners. So I tried throwing the spinner bait here and I didn't get anything to hit it. When I did go downstream, I didn't have it on video. I caught 3 chugs on the bobber with the worm. And then I started recording again, and I floated the bobber through this hole like 10 times and got bit like 10 times, and I couldn't hook whatever was hitting. And then I finally caught this rainbow on the bobber to get that completed in the slam. We got trout on the bobber. And then right away after, I caught something on the miniature little trout, the little thumper tail, which is a little tiny brown. So then I fished for a little while longer, and I didn't get anything to hit the Cutie Spin or the Lunker City Helgramite. So I decided to try a different creek, which I went to, which will be shown in the next clip with my introduction. Now we got 3 things checked off. We got this plastic. Now we have the 2 hardest things left to go. So awesome. We got the plastic checked off on the stinky brown. We still have the Helgramite and the spinnerbait to fish with it. Here's the nice little brownie. We're gonna let it go. And we need to change up everything. So the last 2 things we have are the spinnerbait and this Lunker City bait. Which I don't know, I guess I can try these on the Kenders. We're at a different creek. We're gonna try these MTB baits in a couple other spots quick. See if we can manage to salvage anything on them. I just grabbed a Rapala because if I throw them here and don't get anything, I'm just going to put back on some rusty trusty baits. To show that it's probably the baits that suck. catching strikes out of it. On the spinnerbait. We got one. I got this trout on the spinnerbait, and I got like 3 or 4 more trout to hit at the spinnerbait here. Here's some underwater footage then of how the spinnerbait looks actioning, and the cutie spinnerbait and the Helgramite looks actioning underwater once I release this fish. And then I continued to fish here for a little while longer, and I got a couple more fish to hit at the Helgramite on this creek. But I didn't catch any. But then I ran out of real estate to fish on the public land, so I decided to go to this little brookie creek where I didn't catch anything, but I got another couple fish to hit at the Helgramite, but I didn't hook them. And I had one hit at a worm and a spinner there. But then I ran out of daylight to do this slam, and I'm not going to go through the effort to catch one on this Helgramite, although I will leisurely try it, using it to fish with. And here's a short clip at the end before I do my wrap up and review on the lures and rate them for this video of what this creek looks like. And it is really growing up with brush since I cut it out. And this Helgramite should be black and not white. It looks kind of funny. People have been fishing here. A fish. What the heck? The one just came swimming up after it. So overall, I wasn't that impressed with this box, but the baits actually ended up working pretty well. These trout thumper tails, I don't know, they're pretty soft plastics. I don't know exactly how many came in here. I don't even have the rest of the container, so it must be somewhere else. But they seem to work pretty well. I just dropped it in my lap. And they're kind of soft though and got wore out, but I think they'll work really well for crappies or trout and continue to work. And just have like a little swim bait like action. They don't have a ton of action to them, but it definitely worked. This might work well for brookies too because they like small stuff. So I will give these a 3.5 out of 5. The Kender's tungsten here, which is attached to the Helgramite, it casted really nice. These things are heavy and cast well. I'm just not going to spend $5.89 for 2 jigs, although they work well. And I didn't donate these to the brush in the creek, which surprised me. And then I gave them a 3 out of 5 on the last video, and I'll give them a 3 out of 5 on this video. These Lunker City Helgramites, they're relatively solid. The tail part of the one Helgramite did break off while I was fishing with this, and this is another one. I guess this piece broke off of these, but all these little appendages on these plastics break off pretty easy. And I just was using them on this jig. It may have been better if I would have fished them on a longer shaft jig like you'd use for walleye fishing. But I did get some fish hit in this creek, but they didn't work in the creek I usually fish. This doesn't even look like the color of the Helgramite. Most of the Helgramite larvae when I look on the internet are black. So it looks kind of funky. I don't know. I'll eventually catch something. I think at least a bass will hit it. Who knows? I'll try this again. This plastic looks decent otherwise, why it just didn't work for me. We'll give this a 3 out of 5 too. This bobber, it casted really nice, but this part was not very strong, and it was slipping up and down my line a lot when I was just hooking it through this piece right here by where my finger is. And it should be holding on my line a lot better than what it was. And I don't know, it didn't take too much weight to make sink, but that's the typical part of these weighted light bobbers. This would be good use for panfish fishing, but unfortunately it was slipping down my line really bad. We'll give this a 2 out of 5. And what else do we have? And we had this cutie spin, which is right here. It's a nice spinnerbait. It looks like it swam nice and worked pretty well, but look at the paint on it from just using it. Like the paint on it is completely gone, like half gone on the head already from just one afternoon of using it and throwing it in the creek, and the skirt's kind of messed up. So the use of spinnerbait is good. Oh, and it's bent too. So it doesn't look like the assembly on this bait is very good. It did work to catch a fish, and I think this would work really good in like a little stream to catch smallies. I don't know how this got so bent so fast. That's pretty bad. Didn't even notice that till I just looked at it. Good thing I tested this out before giving a reaction to it. I guess that'll take this down to a 2 out of 5 too. It's not made very well, and it's obviously getting pretty beat out from its little bit of wear. And these best snelled hooks worked fine. They caught the most fish out of anything on the box. I think I landed 3 chubs and 2 trout on them. The ones I was catching on the bobber, I was just using the snelled hook with, so I was testing it out. So they worked fine. It didn't help that the creek was pretty clear, so it wasn't ideal for fishing with worms and bobbers. I did have some issue with the snelled hooks in the past, like they were snapping off on me when they sent me those snelled hooks past in the box when I had them tied to 8-pound line, which doesn't make sense because the 8-pound line should snap before them. So I'll give those a 3 out of 5. Overall, this box is okay. It obviously caught some trout, so that's what matters. Thanks everybody for watching. Please subscribe to my channels. And if you don't like my reactions to the bait and reviews of testing them out, comment below. Thanks for watching.